And I just felt this was really important, that this was a story we had to cover. Nobody else wanted to do it.
And it was a story you knew might be dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Did you know how dangerous?
I don't think anyone could have. During the fighting in January of '99, it was a mission called Operation Kill Every Living Thing. And so they were targeting journalists because they didn't like the fact that the world was finding out that these rebels were cutting off hands and assassinating civilians and doing horrible things like that. He said, you know, everything's fine, the war is over, don't worry about it. But he had no idea. And as we were driving through Brookfield's district in Freetown, I mean, that was a part of the city that was completely controlled by the rebels. And these kids, you know, 12 or 13, maybe 14 years old, with AK-47s, were sort of manning the side of the road like a ad hoc checkpoint. The rest of the convoy went on forward, but our driver got so scared that he stopped. And the bodyguards in our car yelled out to these kids, you know, what are you doing there? One of the kids spun around and unloaded his AK-47 in the backseat of the car. He killed Miles Tierney, my colleague and the cameraman. He killed him outright. And I was shot with one bullet, hit me right there in the middle of my forehead. And it went down, right down the midline of my brain, and it stopped at the back of my skull. And I was really nervous being in the middle of the back seat, and how do I run if I have to? And I started nudging at Miles. And the last memory I've got is Miles saying to me, you know, relax, man. You know, if something happens, you got my big fat body to protect you. And I guess it was within 10 minutes of then that, you know, Miles was dead and I had a bullet in my head. I underwent 2 rounds of brain surgery, a tracheotomy, and a lot of nightmares.
Literal nightmares?
Literal nightmares. You know, emotionally, I became an absolute wreck. That part took me longer to recover emotionally than physically.
Why do you think you survived?
That's not an easy question. I've been asked that before, and I have yet to come up with an answer that I'm satisfied with. The spiritual person in me wants to say that, you know, there's a reason why I'm still here. The practical person in me is I'm incredibly lucky. I was there in the first place to expose the story, expose what was going on in Sierra Leone, so I don't think I really achieved that the way I wanted to as a journalist. So to continue my mission as an author or as a speaker is really important to get the word out about what goes on in other parts of the world. You know, I feel like I do have work to do. And, you know, having witnessed the things I witnessed, not just this war, but in Congo and Cambodia and Afghanistan and other places like that, you know, I really have a role to play in trying to help children, particularly children in conflict zones.
Which is interesting because it's a child that took your friend's life and almost took yours.
Yeah, but it's not his fault. You know, this is a child who's been kidnapped, who's drugged, brainwashed, forced to do these horrible things, probably witnessed his own family killed. You know, I can't blame him. You know, he's a victim more than anyone. You know, I cried like for the first time in years. A part of me, a part of my soul, a part of my blood, my body was left on a dusty street corner in Freetown. So, you know, Africa is now a part of me.
If you could go back in time, would you not take that trip? Would you speed the car up? Would you change anything?
No. This has been an important part of my life as a growth experience, to become less about me and more about what I can do to help. I long ago lost this sort of grand notion that I was going to change the world, which I think every young journalist coming out of journalism school and wanting to cover foreign stories says, okay, I'm going to change the world. That's not going to happen. I don't think I can honestly say that does happen. But if I can honestly say that I've opened the eyes of one person, maybe two would be nice.
You ever going to retire?
No, not from this. They can't stop me.
They tried.
They did, but if a bullet can't stop me, then what can?